This is, I guess, the first story time, and we're just gonna call it that time I discovered Amino. Like, you may or may not know about Amino. Amino is like an app that is not existent anymore, but it used to be an app where a lot of people grew up on it. It was like social media for people who didn't have social media. It was a combination of Instagram, X or Twitter or whatever, Reddit and like YouTube and everything just combined. Like you could have voice calls on there. It also had a little bit of a nuance that is able to be found in like pages like Omegle or something. It was just like an app where you could like create your own communities, join existing communities, have voice calls with strangers. Um, like talk to them, text them. You could send memes, you could send videos to each other. There would be like a premium membership that you could buy to be able to send, like to customize your account, kind of like how you customize your account on Discord, with like a custom, I guess, like custom background, custom profile pictures, custom chat bubbles, custom like backgrounds for your text and whatnot. It was just like this combination of like all of these social media apps. And back then, that was like the only form of social media that I had aside from like YouTube and WhatsApp, if you may will. And I just wanted to talk about like my experience with Amino and like so many things that have happened, but I'm only going to scratch the surface for now. Yeah, so like, I would just really start where I feel like I can start. Okay, so like the main reason why I personally used Amino, I gotta expose myself, but it was because of K-pop. When I was younger, I was like a huge fan of K-pop. Back then in school, like a friend of mine kind of put me on when we were going on like a class trip together for like a week or so. She kind of put me on K-pop. I was obsessed with like BTS. That was like my biggest army phase ever. So naturally, I joined the army community pretty much. So the army Amino, that's how it's called. And it had over 2 million members, I believe. Like a lot. It was, I think, one of the most, if not the most popular community on Amino. Everybody was in there. And there's like so many different types of Amino users as well. There's the ones like the R peers, which are usually the most common ones. Then there are like the ones that just want to text people and like, make friends. Then there are the ones that are just constantly singing and like being in those voice calls and just singing to each other. There's also these communities that are like these people that are um, like they're just, I guess, trolling everybody and like making shit posts and like unrelated posts and just trying to get people mad and trying to get traction and stuff. And mind you, all of these people are probably or were probably people born between, I guess, the 2000s and like 2007. Like that was our era, bro. I like actually I just recently heard that they actually killed Amino, like they actually killed the app a while ago. And it is so sad because there's so many memories combined with this app. I just hope that someday someone will just like create a similar app like that and maybe call it like Amino 2.0 or something. So like all the people that used to go on Amino can actually go back on Amino and have that as their social media because it was like so fun to be there sometimes. And um yeah, I guess for me personally, I was the type that wanted to go chat with people and also the type that wanted to just RP with people. And I remember that I would be so nervous chatting with strangers. Back then I was like 14, no, I was like 15, 16 years old. And I would be so scared to chat with strangers, even though it was just a chat room. And I would have to literally like mentally prepare myself to be like, okay, I'm just gonna leave a message, and then I'm gonna close the phone, I'm gonna turn around, and I'm gonna just pretend like it doesn't exist anymore. And if I get a message, I'm just gonna breathe. And again, like, I don't know why, but I was so nervous to text people. It was insane. And then what I would usually do is my friend would text to a bunch of people, find some people that are funny, and then she would add me into the group chat. For some reason, people would always naturally assume that I was a dude, and they would always talk to me like I was a dude. I don't understand to this day. Like, even when I grew older on Amino, people would always think that I was a dude. To this day, I don't understand how that works. Like, how can you tell somebody's gender by texting them? That is such a weird concept. But anyways, um they would always naturally assume that I was a dude, and they would have like this vision of me being this like really cute, innocent 15-year-old boy that just kind of happens to be on Amino and kind of doesn't know what's going on, and like, they just had this picture of me, and they would treat me like that as well. Every time I would join the chat and be like, hey, what's up? How's everybody doing and stuff? They'd just be like, oh my god, you're so cute. Oh, my little Pookie, whatnot. Oh, you're so adorable. And whatnot. And I'm just like, okay. And, little me was kind of like, okay, that's low-key weird. But to a certain extent, I kind of liked it, all right? I kind of like getting the attention of people calling me cute and whatnot, because in real life, I wouldn't really get that very much. So at some point, I would kind of start adding into the narrative and being like, yeah, I don't really know what that is. Can you explain that to me? This is so toxic. It is so funny to me just to think about it. Like, I was literally like 15, 16 years old, just playing this like really, really like unknowing character that just didn't know what was going on. And I remember that they would honestly, like, at some point, they would even start literally borderline becoming a bit explicit in these chat rooms. And I would just be like, I genuinely don't know what you're talking about. I genuinely don't know what you're talking about. I have never heard this word before. Can you actually explain that word to me? Because I don't want to look it up because I don't want to have it in my search history. And my friend at some point would even come up to me and be like, stop pretending. Stop pretending that you're all innocent when you're not. I know that you're not that innocent. We both know that you're not that innocent. And I'm just like, uh, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about, and I don't know what you're talking about. Like, let's just say that I really liked crafting this like innocent persona that was just kind of being babied by everybody, because I never really got that feeling of like being babied by anyone. People would naturally always assume that I was like super mature and that I already knew what was going on and I already knew what I had to do. And people would naturally just hand me things that would always have a lot of responsibility. And I just kind of got to feel like what it felt like, at least to be a Netflix stereotypical teenager, at least for a little while. So this is just kind of like scratching the surface of my Amino experience. I didn't write a script for this. That's why this whole thing is all over the place. But I feel like just generally by the way I'm talking, you can already understand or already get how like I'm smiling while I'm saying this, because it's just so much nostalgia, like, for me to just reminisce about my Amino experience. And I would love to go into more detail, but I guess that's has to be for another video. And maybe I'm going to structurize it, make it a bit more organized. There were some Amino incidents that happened. For example, there was this incident where I literally pretty much got groomed by some whack ass stranger, or at least they tried to. And I was just not stupid enough to send like actual pictures of myself to them, because I already knew about internet security and like I already knew about cybersecurity at that point. So I was, but if that would have been somebody else, they probably would have sent pictures. And there's just genuinely a bunch of stories that I want to tell and I could tell that I will tell in the future. But that's just like a little like scratching the surface of my Amino experience. And also I'm gonna look into my gallery to see if I can find some of the old Amino pictures, like of the screenshots. 'Cause I did so many screenshots of the chats. I will see if I can find them. If I find them, I'll put them in the video or I'll put them in the next video, depending on whether I'm finding them or not. Um, and yeah, that was pretty much it. That was my Amino experience, or at least like the introduction to like talking about my Amino experience. And I hope that you enjoyed it. And let me know if you still remember Amino. Let me know what type of person, what type of archetype you were on Amino. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. The next video is probably not going to be a story time. I think it's going to be like a gaming video because I really wanted to play one of my old, like, favorite old Flash games that I used to play when I was younger. But yeah, let me know if you actually want to see more of this or like at least hear more of this. Um, and I'm gonna hop off because why is this outro so long? See ya.